here at CES 2024. I'm James Kotecki here in the C-Space studio, and joining me is Aaron Wetzel of John Deere. You are the you are the VP of Production and Precision Ag Production Systems at John Deere, and we're so glad to have you. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
John Deere, always a big presence at CES. I believe you keynoted last year's CES. What's your message here at CES this year?
Yeah, our message this year is continuing on the journey that we talked about in last year's CES about how Deere's equipment and its technology solutions come together to create new value for our customers, help them be more productive, help them be more efficient, but also more sustainable for the planet.
So let's talk about what some of those things mean in practice. I mean, I don't know if you want to kind of take me through some of the coolest stuff that you're showing at CES, or what's the best way to frame that?
Yeah, I would say for those that aren't here at the CES show, if you were to enter the John Deere booth, one of the areas that's pretty exciting is the first thing you see is a video link to a tractor running autonomously at one of our test farms in Austin, Texas. And participants that are actually here at the show will be able to control that vehicle from an iPhone at that field in Texas. So we're super excited about the continued progress we're making in the areas of autonomy and leveraging AI and machine learning capabilities to help us address the problems that farmers have is labor availability. And so this particular solution enables customers to do other things that are more valuable on their farm if they're not having to sit in the cab of a tractor, and that tractor's out performing tillage work today. And then it's helping them quality of life as well. So being able to be at home for their families for dinner at night when during the harvest season is a very difficult time. So we're super excited as that's kind of our entry point into the booth around autonomy and what that brings for farmers.
And so where are we now, to dive into that a little bit further, in terms of the practical rollout of autonomy to farms, either here in the United States or around the world? Obviously, it seems like this has been an issue, autonomy, where companies like John Deere are able to be a little bit ahead of companies that are, frankly, carrying passengers in the backseat of a car or on public roads or other things. It seems like a farm is an ideal place to try and figure this out and to progress this technology. But is this something that a farmer can order today and get a farmer in their field tomorrow and have it doing this autonomously? Where actually are we on this?
Yeah, we're still in the beginning stages of our journey around autonomy for customers. We're focused primarily on tractors today. We are working with cooperator farmers in various parts of the United States at this moment, but we intend to break that to a wider range of customers within the U.S. and ultimately we'll take that around the world. We'll expand that in terms of the capabilities of the machines, but also helping them address this productivity and labor shortage problem that we've got.
Yeah, is it the kind of thing where you're moving towards someone is still in the cab, but they have to do fewer and fewer tasks, or maybe they're more operating like a commercial airline pilot where it's on autopilot, so to speak, and they're kind of monitoring a system as opposed to physically driving it? Is that, or are you kind of going in that step, in those directions?
I would say we're already in some of those steps today with AutoTrack that is currently in our machines and operating with thousands of customers today. The tractor is going through the field pretty much by itself. You're in the cab monitoring the systems. What we're talking about in autonomy is no one is in the cab. And you're actually remotely looking at the machine, monitoring its performance, and doing very different things than letting that tractor run 24/7 in the field by itself.
I love the idea that it's controlled by an iPhone, by the way, which is something that a lot of people are carrying around in their own pockets. How important is, as you continue to develop this, accessibility to people, integrating with technologies that they already have or already understand? Tell me how the thought process works there.
Yeah, I think that's one of the fundamental cornerstones of our technology journey is we've got to keep it simple and easy for the customers to use. That's what's going to drive adoption and utilization of the technology. If it's too difficult, they're not going to use it, and we've seen that on our journey of technology and incorporating it in machines. So being able to use your tablet, your phone, and making it as simple as possible is the way we're going to help really drive this across the acres and the customers that we want long term.
And tell me about how autonomy ties into what it sounds like your role is largely focused on, which is precision agriculture. Can you maybe define that term for folks who are watching the CES content here who maybe aren't as familiar with precision agriculture, and then how that relates to autonomy?
Sure. Our precision ag business is really how we more precisely farm a field. And it's more precisely placing the seed, placing chemical and nutrients to optimize and maximize the output and yield. That's really the kind of fundamentals of what precision ag is all about. And Deere has been investing heavily for the past couple of decades on how do we bring new technologies to the market to help customers more precisely manage their fields.
Yeah.
Historically, farmers farm the field, and they'll look at the 40-acre tract and make decisions based on that entire 40 acres output. With the technology we have and the ability to really capture the data of what's happening at the planting stage, the spraying stage, and at the harvest stage, we're helping farmers more finely manage that piece of acreage down to the meter or even down to the seed itself long term.
Yeah.
And so that's what's exciting about what we're doing at Deere is the technology we're incorporating into our machines through each step of the production system, helping customers get more information, make better decisions, but ultimately they're going to reduce their inputs, they're going to reduce their costs, they're going to be more efficient, and ultimately this is better for the environment as well.
Yeah.
So.
I speak to a lot of advertising and marketing leaders here in the C-Space studio, and there is such an analogy here to what has been called spray and pray marketing, where you just blast your message all over the place and you pray that it actually works. And of course, over the years, and what I talk about a lot here in the C-Space studio is people more precisely targeting that message. So it's interesting to see kind of the parallels in other industries, and really, I think it's all about data, right? Yeah. So what kind of data are you able to collect and use? I suppose there's so much data, but are there certain kinds of data that people might be surprised by, whether that's the kind of data point or the scope of the data that you're actually able to collect?
Yeah. So we're building many layers of data as each time a customer traverses through a field doing a particular task.
Yeah.
In the planting stage, with our ExactEmerge technology and the data capabilities we've established on that particular machine, we're able to basically see where every single seed is in a field when it's planted.
Yeah.
When the farmer then goes to the next stage of nurturing the crop, so you're placing chemicals and other nutrients. With our new See and Spray technology that we just launched a couple of years ago, where we're leveraging artificial intelligence systems and cameras to go through the field at 15 miles an hour and discern if that is a plant that we want to keep or is that a weed we want to spray, and then spray only the weed. And we've got those machines in the fields today working with customers, and we're seeing customers realize up to 70% in chemical savings.
Wow.
Because they're not
so
having
they can grow the same amount of food and they can use 70% fewer chemicals?
What's even better is the yield is improving. Because what we see is when customers go through if you broadcast spray everything, that chemical does have some impact to the plant itself.
Yeah.
We're actually seeing those when the plants are not sprayed. They're actually being more vigorous and ultimately higher yields.
So you reduce the negative impacts of where it shouldn't have been sprayed in the first place.
Exactly. So it's super exciting what we're experiencing today in agriculture, the way we're being able to leverage technology for the benefit of the planet in terms of sustainability, but also enabling our customers to produce more food to feed the growing population around the world. And so at the end of the day is what we're trying to do is help customers achieve that.
Yeah, and that ties into the human security for all theme of CES.
Yep.
CES, I believe technology was recently named the 8th pillar of, I should actually look up what I mean by it. It's like the 8th pillar of human rights or something like that. So technology as a component of how we advance the human condition is increasingly being recognized both here at CES and elsewhere. So speaking of all of this data, all of this autonomy, do you think of John Deere as a tractor company? If I walked up to someone on the street, what's John Deere, a tractor company? Is that how you think of it?
I think of it very differently. I mean, clearly our business is still driven a lot by the machines that we sell and the customers that we serve.
And the iconic visual of a green and yellow John Deere tractor, it's hard to overcome.
But we are changing, and what's exciting is the pace of change that's happening within Deere and how we're embracing technology in all aspects of our business.
Yeah.
How we're focused on the customers and how we can take that technology and incorporate it into the machine to make their jobs easier, make them more productive. I've been with the company 35 years, and it's exciting to see the transition that's been happening, and particularly in the past few years, how we're really starting to ramp up the technology journey and take advantage of the capabilities that exist out there to the benefit of our customers.
Yeah. And what's the journey for the next, say, 5 years? What are we going to be talking about in 5 years? Is it getting people ramped up on using and adopting and understanding how to think about their farms differently? Obviously, the technology needs to continue to increase.
The next 5 years are going to be very exciting for agriculture. It's exciting for Deere in the technology suite that we have available for customers. We will do that. We will be very focused on driving adoption and utilization of our technology solutions. We'll continue to expand our offerings of autonomous capabilities, of more precise application of seed chemical and nutrients, all at the end of creating more data so that customers can make better decisions to help their overall yields. We're going to take that not only just in the US, but we want to take that globally as well, looking at markets like Brazil that are ripe for these types of technologies and capabilities, as well as Europe. Everywhere that food is being produced, Deere wants to be there and being able to offer its technologies to make them more productive.
Well, Aaron Wetzel, John Deere, thank you so much for joining us today here in the C-Space studio.
No, thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
And we are at CES 2024. I am James Kotecki, and more great C-Space studio conversations are just ahead. Don't go anywhere.